begin with a new Anomaly Nobody video. This is very likely the last one of 2023 as we leave the year behind. I think it's good to leave it with a positive message. And as we know, everything about him is usually positive. The title for this video is The Nobody Anomaly. We are the ones we've been waiting for. I would like to begin with a beautiful quote from Franz Hertmann. It says like this: "Alchemy in its highest aspects deals with the spiritual regeneration of men and teaches how a god may be made out of a human being, or to express it more correctly, how to establish the conditions necessary for the development of divine powers in men, so that a human being may become a god by the power of God, in the same sense as a seed becomes a plant by the aid of the four elements and the action of the invisible fifth. Alchemy in its more material aspect teaches how minerals, metals, and animals and men may be generated or made to grow from their seeds, or in other words, how that generation which is accomplished during long periods of time in the due course of the action of natural laws may be accomplished in a comparatively very short time. If these natural laws are guided and supplied with material by the spiritual knowledge of men, there is no doubt in my mind that gold can be made to grow by alchemical means, but it requires an alchemist to make the experiment succeed. And he who is attracted by the power of gold will not obtain possession of the spiritual power necessary to practice the art." Now let's begin with the Nobody video. Nothing will come from outer space to save mankind, No force, no God, and no Savior. For if this was possible, then mankind will not grow and will remain handicapped to its full power and being, to a childlike condition who requires something greater than itself to actualize, a shadow to protect him. Instead, the human species must look within to reach the true being and the power of such being which has always been within mankind. It has remained dormant because humanity was deceived of its true phenomena and reality by the creation of an exterior God, and with it thousands of countless religions and dogmatic systems that have bound the power and creativity of humanity to a small insignificant being who must be saved and who is bound by sin and defect, instead of the reality that we are God, the ones we have been waiting for all along. After all that has been written in many forums, Discord, videos, and there's so many emotions by many souls that have come across the material writing about him, I believe that the key to his message, if we attempt to summarize it via the collective inspiration of his seekers, is that there have never been a need for an exterior savior, that it was always us, the ones that we were waiting for, the ones that needed to do the job of global transformation, a task, as it has been said before, that it must begin with each individual, that he, despite everything that has been said, is just a nobody, no one in particular, and yet he believes in himself as the force capable of causing havoc in the full construct of reality. As his belief is so strong that it becomes reality manifested, he does not doubt himself. The soul of the human race has been trapped for thousands of years by terrible thought forms that manifest in the collective as the angry, jealous God who will send you to hell if you don't obey, who you must submit as you are sinful and weak, incapable of standing on your own, or thinking for yourself, who you need for your salvation, redemption. No wonder our world is in such dysfunction, as mankind has been neutered from its sovereignty and power, and given its might to imaginary exterior thought forms, who by ignorance have been made look as the reality. His mental faculty and spirit has been chained from the full expression by this. The nobody comes as a man of no God, who needs no one as a redeemer or savior, and stands as an absolute in all infinitum as his own God, without fear of the interminable darkness and complete isolation of such unending experience of its own inner being, seeking apotheosis in its highest form. He reminds in continuation of his task. Some must have wondered who is this mysterious character is. Some say is God in manifestation, others that he is the devil himself, others that he is just a nobody. The reality is that you cannot define him because he is a truly unique individual. Outside the current confinements of your social prototypes, he cannot follow religious structures or prophecies or systems written by the past because he is not part of such systems. He is outside the exception of them. Therefore, he will write and create something outside the current ideas and beliefs of what is imagined as someone capable of changing reality. In reality, this is also possible for you, for you're not different than him. He is beyond the limits of good and evil, light or darkness. The truth is that only a real divine being can have actual individuality, whereas you must earn it. Beyond the cultural programming from which the homo masses select their own individual psychological and mental structure to define themselves, you as a species must let go of this need of Messiah, an outside savior, and begin the true work that you require to become a full individual, as he the one called the Anomaly, another name given to the nobody is. Let these all thought forms, egregores, go free into the nothingness. Do not trap them here no more. For as long as you continue to do so, they will be a parasite consuming the energy substance of mankind to remain alive, an energy that could be used instead for the transformation of civilization and the end of this current pattern and loop, and of course, for the transformation of your own being, your entity. Imagine if each individual look at itself as the one, and this replicate at a global scale, and by this belief the world acted as such. Imagine the difference of hope in reality. This is what he represents. He is the one, but so did you. With this new belief, now you're acting as the center of the universe and the wheel of an echo of eternity, applying your own will as the original divine act. Think of the world that could be created by this new conception. The entire power structure of world religions and governments founded in it, in its dogmas, will collapse as they will lose their legitimacy. This degree of power and individuality is the act that he, the nobody, seeks to show you. So with it, the doors of a new world order can be opened, a world whose entrance arrives by new ideas of reality and knowledge. Knowledge which has been hidden from you, because knowledge, as the old saying says, is power. Beliefs create our world, and the current limiting and exhausted world and its systems is a manifestation of limiting beliefs, being carried over and over again through millenniums, with a humanity incapable of actualizing as is not self-aware yet, and therefore it cannot produce new conceptions. Just as the people in the past could create ideas of God and spirituality, so can we. Perhaps in a much superior way, I imagine. The idea that because something is old, ancient, makes it automatically right is wrong. Unlike them who cannot access the technology, like the internet, which allows all human experience and information at the tip of one's fingers, or the understanding of our universe that we have today permit us to have a completely different judgment of higher morality and more refined universal truth. It's time that we stop carrying the ideas of the dead people that lived so long ago. We carry these ideas and beliefs in the form of world organizations, religions, governmental structures, and with it, the defects of the consciousness of the past. The nobody is his own God, his own Redeemer, and with it comes the power to configure a reality outside the limits of social engineers, which work through culture and religion to manipulate like puppets the poor mankind. This is a power that elite who controls now the world forbids you to have. While of course, will oppose him for this reason they will oppose him from emerging and having influence with all their might. For if you gain this power, you will also be sentient and be as the gods, knowing good and evil and capable of exercising free will. This means you'll be in equal footing with the ruling elite, and the power differential between them and you will end at last. The nobody is the prototype, which represents the infinite mode of being, meaning the God mode, which only a few human beings have access to. The capacity to conjure one's own reality based in one's own judgment and desire. This power will arrive as you remember who you are, who you have always been. The very eternal God is you, each of you. The nobody through his own life is here to show you who you are. The more you know him, the more you will know yourself, and with it, the forbidden truth of your own being. Unlike the old gods of the Abrahamic religions, he does not seek worship or idealization, or to be put in a pedestal, for that is such a slave-like condition. For only non-divine beings seek worship and idealization. A true divine being seeks to awaken you to the truth that he is you and you are him, meaning that we are all fractals of God, expressing ourselves in matter, that this reality is not the end of itself, but only one expression of infinite expressions that exist in our own being, for we are the universe and the totality of existence. Understanding yourself and who you are will mean a great capacity to shift and change reality and to bring forth a world of unimaginable potential. For this new type of consciousness, the God mode consciousness, cannot be further enhanced with the new technologies emerging such as artificial intelligence. This means that our imagination, intelligence, and capability will echo through artificial intelligence and technologies that are created. The nobody anomaly is an aspect of the new consciousness. Maybe he will appear in the real world, maybe he will not. He, as an individual, will choose what is appropriate for himself. I imagine whatever he does, he will in a sort of way influence mankind from behind the scenes towards the fulfillment of its own nature in the universe. That fulfillment is not carved in stone. It is something that mankind will choose and create on its own. Once it has grown up and left behind the childish needs of gods, saviors, and messiahs, it has become its own sovereign, universal. Just remember, as powerful as the nobody might be, he is no greater or less than you. For when you at last understand, you will know that he is you and you are him, and that both of you are playing a game that spans the existences of universes. For eternity is a long journey to endure, for that which cannot die. And each of you is an eternal being. You always have existed, you always will be, just as he is. Just remember and you will see. Good night for tonight. Have a good day. Goodbye.